Hello, everyone. Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. So exciting. Thank you guys. We're a little short, starting a little late. We were getting all of our Instagrams and behind the scenes stuff done. So I just wanted to say welcome to YNS Live with NFL Thread and the Power of Words. The founder, Deb Sawoff. Did I say it right, Deb?
Correct.
So she is the founder of Power of Words brand and also Tale Blanc. And so I can't even tell you how exciting. And I'm going to have Cynthia give a little introduction also on how we met, Deb. But literally, it was the first time when we saw her, it was like, we were just wowed, and especially what she is doing right now. And we met her at the events that Cynthia and I were. You guys have heard all about the luncheon and the fashion show. And so the things that we're talking about and where the Power of Words brand is going is just so insane that we're so excited to be able to bring this here live on Fireside. And if you guys are new, if you're new to Fireside, a couple different things, especially if you're in the room, you're going to click on the two little lines to the bottom. You guys can broadcast that to the world. So you can send it to your followers. You can send it to Facebook and Twitter, and people can actually listen in. We don't know that they're like listening, but it's very cool because you'll get calls later being like, oh my God, I saw you live on Facebook, or I saw you live here. So if you guys want to take a second, if you guys are in the room right now, to do that and to share with your friends so we can get this out to more people, because the Power of Words brand is the missions behind this is just so insane that more people need to hear about it. So again, whether you're here, if you're listening on Fireside, welcome to Fireside. If you are on Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, welcome, welcome. And I'm going to hand it over to my co-host, Cynthia Zordich, to introduce Deb and tell a little bit about how we met.
Yes. Hey, guys. Hey, Deb. It's so interesting, the NFL circles and how we all connect and how we all are brought together. And, meeting Deb when we were doing the YNS Live broadcast at the Off the Field fashion show, which, is something that I'm hugely a part of and so proud of. The one thing I love about the fashion show the most and Off the Field is every year we go into communities and we make an impact within that city, that hopefully even goes beyond that city. This year, the foundation was the Hollywood Foundation. And at the same time, the fashion show featuring the Power of Words brand, it was like, wow, here we are now, not only impacting LA in so many ways, impacting the Hollywood Foundation, but now we're impacting the world with this wonderful message. And to me, first of all, the brand was just incredible. The fashion show was just so incredible, but the brand just spoke. And we were so excited to get you on, Deb, because I would like to have you share exactly how it came to be that you were able to kind of pre-launch your brand at the fashion show, because to me, it's just another example of the wonderful NFL circles and how people meet, and how it seems like NFL women are always like, oh, you have to do this, you have to get involved. So Deb, can you please explain that wonderful story of how it came to be?
Well, thank you very much for having me, Juliet and Cynthia. It was such a pleasure to meet you. And both of you have so much incredible energy. I was so excited to get on here today and talk about, the power of words, talk about how you girls, you attract people to want to be on the show. And that's amazing, because I usually shy away from things like this. But, just to go back, it was an incredible day. It was an incredible event. This started the whole Power of Words brand came about very organically. I was on a trip with my dear friends that I travel with, and I was approached to do a fashion show for my existing brand, Tale Blanc, that we talked about, and, give back a percentage to the Mental Health Foundation in Cleveland, where the NBA All-Star was being held this year. I accepted to do it, and I said, fantastic, great opportunity. I'd love to help. I don't have a following in Cleveland, but, I'll be there. It took me a couple of months to digest this and, how I've been impacted. My family's been impacted by the mental health situation, first with COVID, and just generally, I think all of us have these mental health moments that we go through. And if you're able to control it, I think, and understand and have people around you understand what's happening, I guess, there's some way to get out of that foggy space you're in. So I talked to my family. My family is very much a part of the business. And I said, I'd really like to do something that would impact mental health, just impact causes in a long-term way. And we can do a gala and we can do a dinner and we can fundraise. I've been involved with tons of fundraising, whether it's, UNICEF or Children's Hospital Los Angeles or other foundations and other organizations. And I find that it's the one thing, you do it once a year, you spend 6 months planning it, and then you walk away from it and it's all done, you raise a ton of money. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to do something that was going to be meaningful, would create awareness, would get people engaged. And that's my most important goal for this, is the engagement. Mm-hmm. And I needed, of course, I have a long-term vision with almost anything I do. And I have a very ambitious vision for this, and fingers crossed, we've accomplished stage 1, which is the most difficult, which is launching a brand in 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's incredible.
Six months to, since we decided we were going to do this, set up a new company. This is my original brand is just the mother brand, but the Power of Words is, an individual brand by itself. I brought on a few amazing people that I've known for years, that have supported me through this event and will stay on board, as we grow. And I decided to call it the Power of Words, because that's what this brand is all about. It talks to you. It has a label on the inside that tells you what you've purchased and why you've purchased, and it expresses how you feel on the outside, but it also gives back. And once I had the idea in place, I have a dear friend who's attached to the NFL Wives Association, or to the NFL period. And she said to me, Deb, I'd love to see if I can get this on the NFL event, which she ended up doing. That's Kim Costin. And I can't thank her enough, because that was such an incredible moment for me. First, to be able to do the show pre-NBA. And secondly, to meet you girls, and then, the entire team, the Off the Field Wives, what an incredible group of women. Charisse, Erica, Ashley, all of them came together and took this 100%. So I couldn't be more thankful. So that's a very long story, but I'm sorry.
No, please don't be sorry, because it's not and everyone knows that listens to, whether it's my podcast or the segment that Cynthia and I do, stories are what connects people. Stories are what gets deep into your heart and you want to know more. So there's never a long story. And especially when you have the impactfulness behind your story, you have to tell the story in your form. That wasn't even long. We didn't even get into a lot of, parts of it. But Cynthia, and I know you want to jump in here. I just want to say one thing. That was the first time I was at the fashion show, and Cynthia has been at others, and I just remember sitting and seeing the girls walk, and then when your brand came out, I remember just stopping and being like, wow, wait, what's happening? Okay, I feel like there's a little bit of a shift here, something's different. And what is this about? And I remember asking Cynthia, I was like, what is this? She said, this is Deb. This is who, that woman that walked by that you said, oh my God, I love her jacket. She goes, oh, right. This is, so then we were both like, I said, I need to know more about this. I need to ask questions. And by the time we got reconnected again, we had already shut down the podcast. But it was, again, I know, and thank you for saying the kind words about Cynthia and I, but we both felt the same about you, your energy, and just your calmness, and just the way you talked about the power of words and your brand and your story. It's a beautiful thing. And, to let the audience know, we, Cynthia and I were both on different family vacations after the Super Bowl, and we were both in Florida. And we met with you again because we really wanted to get you on this segment as we were still kind of reliving the different events that we had at the Super Bowl. And so it's just a really special thing what you're doing. You could feel your heart. And one of the things about, and I've said this to Cynthia before, and others have heard me talk about this, is anytime I've interviewed an NFL spouse or, anything that has to do with this segment, you can feel the love and the compassion, and it is just so amazing. And that's what Cynthia and her organization, and then many of the women that I met with off the field, you can just feel that they want to give back and they have a platform where they can help. So the fact that you were able to kind of work with them to do it is just such a beautiful thing. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do, the YNS Live with NFL Thread segment is I don't think enough people know about all the behind the scenes things. When I was telling people where I was going to the Super Bowl, I was going to this NFL Thread networking luncheon and then this fashion show, people would say, wait, how come I don't know about this? And I was like, and by the way, the fashion show has been going on for 21 years. And people would say, wait, I don't understand. How come we don't know about this? How come no one is talking about it? And I said, well, that's what I'm trying to do. And luckily enough, I've had a connection with Cynthia, who's been doing all these things and working hard and giving back to so many different people and keeping the NFL Thread, group together, and the spouses and the world of the NFL community. She has done such a wonderful job on that. And I know she gets a little blushed because when I talk about her this way, but it is truly, so it's such a wonderful thing that you were able to get involved with it. And now the fact that the three of us are on stage talking about what's next, it's going to be just insane. Cynthia, I know you sat there so patiently because I know you had stuff to say.
No, it is like for everybody there at the fashion show, there were so many elements that made me so proud of the fashion show, to be in the NFL, to be a woman in the NFL, to be a woman, period. There was just so much going on. And, just the women as a part of the fashion show itself, wearing all their wonderful brands at Santa Monica Place, they just were incredible. And the dynamics between the women on the stage were so fun, and between the honorees and then the actual fashion models, seeing the power of words come out. Deb, I'll probably embarrass you when I say this, but you already had a presence in the audience. You probably don't realize that, but I was there with all my girls, like that have been my girls forever, and you just have a style and a presence about you that even just sitting there quietly anticipating the first launch of your brand, and you were probably just freaking out inside, but you just look like just sitting there, just somebody special. And we all noticed you. And then slowly as the girls came out, and boy, talk about power, and talk about knowing that what you're wearing is powerful, that the message is powerful. You could tell when all of the models featuring the power of words came out, you could feel it in their stride, that they felt the importance of the clothing, but it's more than clothing. It's like gear, it's like gear. And so slowly you could hear people whispering that you were the designer, that you were behind the brand. It was really an exciting moment, just to kind of, wow, she's right there. That beautiful woman that we've been looking at is right there. So I want you, if you don't mind, to talk about because the straps, they're just so important, and they're visible and they're aware, but they feel like they have purpose. So if you don't mind, talking about that creative concept, the words that you decided, the models and the words that you chose for each of them, if you don't mind kind of sharing that, would be fantastic.
Thank you. My gosh, so many compliments. Thank you. My face won't fit on the screen anymore. My head's the power of words is, it was really beautiful to be in that space with all these women. I have to say, I have never felt so much sisterhood at another, event. They come together, Cherise and Ashley and Erica came over with Kim. Kim brought all of them over. She was like the thread that connected everybody. And to take the time to get off a plane when you fly to Cleveland and come in and walk a show again. And it's not an easy thing. You come in, you change, it's crazy. And Cherise Brown did that with her daughter Timon. And that was so beautiful to have that support. Some of these things are emotional in so many ways because the entire project is emotional, I think, for so many people involved, so many people that are not involved that are connected with us. Going back to the product, so the power of words as a name for the brand was I felt like the right thing to do, but then how would I take it back into the product? So we're talking mental health. The details on the inside of the product, the color for mental health is green. It's like a pretty green, like the color for cancer is pink. And we have a ribbon that runs through somewhere along every garment, a seam of every garment, holding it together. That has the words printed on it, positive words, compassion, empathy, love, resilience, just really important words to what it means to be strong and so aside of what goes on the inside of the garment, on the outside, I tried to pick words that would mean or relate to people specifically, whether you feel brave today or you feel courage. And on some of them, they're very loud and like you can see right behind me, or they're, in a print or in the straps, as you mentioned, the straps really represent strength first because they're not ribbons, they're actually straps. And we've secured the straps, so we've got you, basically, is what that means. And you can, float around, but you've got to come back. And that's what the straps mean, and then on the inside of every garment, we have a little message. And when you own the garment, you'll know what that message is. It's like a little surprise and heartwarming to know that we've thought about the product.
I love that. And I know right now, if anyone in the audience is like me, they're like, okay, I want to visualize this, right? I want to visualize this. Right. So some of the brand is behind you, but also I just did a post on Instagram, which is I am Juliette Hahn. You can see, some of you do the swipes, you can see all the women walking and the kids and the girls. And I mean, just as Cynthia said, that was when they came out and you could see the confidence. To me in our conversation in Florida, or it was in LA, is that when Cynthia asked you about this, the straps and stuff, and it was about the strength, like that when you wear clothes, it's how you feel, right? So when you're wearing something, you're going to feel. So the fact that you can use fashion with mental health, it actually is so brilliant and something that I don't think anyone really, really thinks about. But when you really, like, if you just sit there, everyone in the audience, you sit and think about that when you're, and as women, as men, anyone, right? When you put something on, you can feel whether you're confident or how you're feeling. And so, and your clothes really embody that, which is just so beautiful. And so also, can you shout out your website so that you guys also can go to Deborah's, as you see this little scroll here in the fortune cookie, and also in Deborah's profile, you guys can go, but it is the power of words with an S brand.com. Am I correct?
Yes.
So can you also so people might say, okay, and then I do want to get into when you debuted, at, the NBA, but I do want to also, people in the audience, again, if they're like me, they're like, okay, well, this is amazing. Is there a way to other people can get involved? And so there are, your clothes are for sale now. Am I correct?
Correct. So we are, like you talked about fashion, what you wear on a daily basis impacts how you feel. It tells your mood most of the time. And you can see when someone's made the effort to dress up, it's either because you're really low and you want to pick yourself up. So with the brand, when you're wearing, what you wear impacts how you feel. It also is a reflection of who you are and the message you're trying to put out. And it gives back. So the brand is really threefold.
I love this.
To go back to sorry, I lost.
I said a lot of stuff there. So it was about that where people can find, but so they can
Yeah,
go to
where
the
people
website
can
and
purchase.
and then they can purchase there.
What I wanted to say is really exciting. So, it took us, we did this whole thing in such a short period of time. We showed maybe 44 looks, but you're talking looks with apparel, tops, the entire thing, the bags, the jewelry, everything had to go together. We were meant to roll out an influencer campaign right when we launched the brand, and we were not able to do that in time, but we are ready to roll it out now. The website is up. The product that is on the influencer campaign, which is I think the most vocal product in the entire collection, is available to purchase. So please go to the website and purchase, and proceeds from that go back to Ohio Guidestones, which is the leading mental health organization in Cleveland. And supporting them and giving back to what they work so hard to do, and erase the stigma around mental health. That's the most important thing. We have voices behind the brand. We have so much going on. So I'll hand it back to you now.
Well, so I just also want to say, so you showcased at the NFL fashion show, at the off the fields fashion show, and then what was it? 4 days later? I mean, what?
A little over a
Less.
week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I left 2 days later to go to Cleveland to start setting up for not starting, but getting organized, doing the fitting, because we'd never tried anything on anybody. And generally, as a brand, even as Talib Law, we use role models. So I love to have a model that has a message, that's doing something other than just modeling. And so we had a ton of role models walking the show for us. So it, ended up with fittings. But, that took a lot of effort putting that show together, because I think this is probably the first time the organization had, Ohio Guidestones was doing a fashion show. And
Where
actually,
was the fashion show? I know it was during the NBA All-Star weekend, but where was the actual fashion show, and who took part in it? Who modeled, like, these role models? Can you name some of them?
yes, well, one big name is, we all have the NFL player Josh Cribbs. So Josh and Maria have a show, and they have a great story that we will be posting online as well, about how when he got off the field, literally, how it impacted his life and what it took for him to come back and do what he's doing today. They have an incredible show in Cleveland.
Nice.
Josh and Maria Cribbs show. We have Coach Dar, who is a therapist for players, and I'm going to be doing an Instagram live with her. And we call it a Speak Out series now, where we get people to speak out, whether it's 15-year-olds or 70-year-olds, the whole spectrum. We had, of course, Sharice Brown, who flew in. She was very much a part of the show. So we had bunch of models, and you'll see all of the role models on our Instagram as well, because I want to make an effort, this is not just about fashion. This is about the message that goes with it. So
Absolutely.
we have a role model. What's their, how do they impact what's going on? Trey Tipton is another one. We had a beautiful, sorry, of course, one of my daughter, who's a really big fan, she's like telling me on the side, Lisa Leslie, I can't say enough. She came in and said, Deb, I want to walk the show. And she walked in, and she was able to fit into what we made, because Lisa's a tall girl, but she walked like a swan. So it was just fantastic to have her. She opened and closed the show for us. So it was pretty incredible. I was so wrapped up in all of it, and it took me to come back home and really digest what happened.
Incredible. I don't know if you realize this, but earlier you made it a point to say they're not ribbons. And I just kind of got the giggles when you said that, because, girls and ribbons in itself, to just like, so first place, second place, third place, but you said they're not ribbons, they're straps.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved that. I just thought that was so strong, because like the strap is strong, and, seeing all the models use them, and it's actually powerful. They use them to swing and they use them to pull. And I just thought, ribbons are pretty much the opposite of that, and I just felt like, I don't know if you said that on purpose or accidentally, but I just thought it just resonated with me. And that's how I feel like the brand resonates with people. You you just walk different in it. I can tell you feel different, and it's for a purpose. It's purposeful clothing, but it's purposeful messaging. And I think that the fact that it does give back is so huge, but it's already giving back, just by being out there in the world. And I'm sure, like, there's so many people, even people that I have featured in the playbook, that on the mental health issues, so many players, I would love for this whole thing to be a connection. And there's so many people that I would even love to introduce you to that already have an important message and are already making an impact in those communities, who would probably love to share their words and that type of collaborative effort. So it's like unending, like, where you can go with this.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm an entrepreneur. I think out of the box. When something like this hasn't been done and you take on a project so quickly and you just run with it, you're not thinking most of the time. And I always tell, kids that I mentor that are graduating with their new product, what's your long vision? You can have a long-term vision, but do you have the steps to get there? With this, I had to work so quickly and say, okay, it's going to fall into place. It's a good thing. It's a good cause. It's a good message. And I thought I'd pretty much covered ourselves well to say, okay, it's got to be for, well-rounded, like they say for so many things. And, you'll see through the collection, we have a lot of quilting. Quilting is padding, it's protection.
Yeah.
And, there's meaning to everything. We have a watercolor print, and watercolor basically, when color and water mix, you have the foggy, you have the clear, you have I don't know heck I'm doing, and I don't know where I'm going, and I'm getting lost, and I'm in this deep dark hole, but you come out of it. You can come out of it.
It's so incredible because, and also everything that you just said, I know something. I was like, I'm like jumping out of my seat like a 2-year-old. It is so relatable, and that's the other thing I have to say, because I am like, fashion intrigues me, but I'm like a jeans and a t-shirt girl, right? That's like me. But the brand is so relatable, but also the message is just, it can touch everything. Even if someone is like, I don't have, mental health is not something that I'm affected with, but everyone has someone in their family, whether even if it's, a neighbor or someone, someone that has been affected by mental health.
Absolutely.
And the thing about all of this is that I love and Cynthia really touched on this, the networking and the collaborations. And everyone that listens to my show, they know I really, whether you believe in God and the universe or both, right? I believe in all of it, but there is a path, and God has a path for everyone. So I know when you're saying, you just went and doors just kept opening up, and that, to me, because this is exactly where I've been there, Cynthia's been there, I know people in the audience have been there, that's God speaking to you directly, right? It's like, okay, you just keep going because I'm showing you the way, and doors are just going to keep opening. And sometimes you might need to make a left and sometimes you need to make a right, but I'm right there going to nudge you to do that. And that's what I love about all of this. I love the mission, but I love how, it was where we were, Cynthia and I were where you were. And then with the podcast and all the events, and then all of Cynthia's connections in so many different worlds and connections in my world, this is just going to, I can just feel it. I mean, I know people in the audience right now that I'm like, I know are going to be people that are like, I have something that I can give to that. I know something that I can do, which is just really exciting. So I just want to also kind of say, thank you to Gina and Charles and Sandy and Bridget and Bassar. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. And Deanna, and there's Cynthia and myself, Mark and Jen and Deborah and Aaron. And then I know Tyrone was in the audience. Is he still here? Oh, there he is. Tyrone is in the audience. Now, he is a 12-year NFL starter, 2-time Super Bowl champion. And so I'm just so excited. And he's a Fireside. He's a TV personality, author, speaker, and founder of TP38 Foundation. So I'm really happy that Tyrone is in the audience, because again, there's connections, I'm sure, there because of what you guys are doing and what everyone's doing. So I just want to thank all of you guys in the audience and wherever you're listening, whether you're listening live, whether you're listening to the replay. If this is something where this has really touched you, this is what I want you to do, because a lot of times we hear shows or we listen to a podcast or read something and it sits with us, but we don't take action, right? This is something that you can take action. Reach out to one of us, reach out to, either Cynthia, Deborah, myself, and say, hey, I have, I have a connection here, or I want to get involved in this, or how do I purchase something? And share this. This is going to touch what Deborah is doing with this brand is so needed. And especially right now. And I hate saying especially right now, because there's always times in our lives that these things are needed. But the fact that we are all here, there is a reason. Again, we are all here for a reason and a purpose. Some of you maybe just kind of jumped in here because you're like, oh, what is this? And all of a sudden a light bulb just went off in your head and you're like, oh my God, I know this. I know what I can do here. And that's what I love about this so much. I mean, you guys can hear my energy. I'm literally like want to jump out of my seat because that's what I love, what I do. And I know these women feel the same way. And I know all of you in the audience, what you're doing right now, whether you're in a high spot or a low spot, this show is touching you in some sort of way. And so I want you to share it. I want you to get it out there. I want you to get involved in how you can.
Yeah. I thought that one of the most significant things that you thought of, Deb, is that the long-term aspect of your give back. You're so talented, and your original brand and your designs, the fact that you had been giving and giving, and you just felt that, well, there's an end point to this gift. And why is there an end point? And I think that we can all think about what it is that we do and how we can look for that longevity, and that longevity in giving or even impacting, okay, so this is what I do. Well, am I doing enough? Am I outreaching enough? Or does it end this year or this month or this, whatever it is? And I just love that you thought of that, because, this give back, this, the fact that it has grown to become this brand is, I really do believe it's going to be a significant brand. And I think that it's going to continue to grow, and I just feel it, that it is. And I think it's because of that collaborative effort and feelings of sharing messaging, creating conversation about a topic that has been so difficult for so long, that is now coming out and giving it strength, not just like, clothes are powerful, they're strong, and that makes you walk powerfully and more and with strength. And I think that this is opening up wonderful conversations. So I think longevity, that was huge that you realized that.
Thank you. This started so small with, just me and three of my really, really close friends. We were actually in Cleveland together when the conversation started, with Ariane May, who is with Ohio Guidestones. I wouldn't do it. So much has happened, and so much. This is just kind of, it's like a wave. It's just going. And we had talked about, we're going to create a tsunami of hope is what we want to be able to create here with the brand. But it wouldn't be fair if I didn't give credit to, my team and my husband that has worked long into 2:00 in the morning. I keep saying to him, you need to go to bed because I need to wake up early. And the team that came together for this, Jumana Kidd, who was really, one of the people that flew with me to Cleveland and then used her network this just grew, and one person came on, brought somebody else on, and we made the event happen. So, Ricky Smith, Riconia, he's already a philanthropist, and he brought his friends on board. The Kramers, who hosted a pre-event to bring people to introduce people to the foundation. And then what the fashion show did is it just made it more fun for everybody to want to get involved and, take it from there. So I'm really, really grateful. And none of this would happen if it wasn't, I can have an idea and I can do great designs and, it could go nowhere.
Right. Team. That's so true. And everything that we do. And I know, like, for so many of us, it's just, I try to surround myself by team and people that are just always wanting to promote others. I mean, I just love that aspect of, I love the fact that, you can meet somebody and then, hey, I can share your message, or I can share your concept or your business or your brand and help you grow. There's nothing more rewarding than helping women grow and people grow. Yeah. So
Networking
it's great.
everything. It's priceless. You don't
Mhm.
need to give people your money. You just need to say, I know somebody, which is why I think for me, it is so important, because when I moved to this country, I did not have a commercial network. I had great experience. I'd worked with the best in the world, but that did nothing for me if someone didn't reach out. And fortunately, about 3 years ago, right when COVID hit, or right just before COVID hit, I met this amazing group of people. I've always had great support from the community close to me, from people that follow the brand, from being in Italy, and fans and friends that we have there. But this is my home, and I can't tell you, I grew exponentially just from a few people that stuck close and said, Deb, you need to meet this one. And every day it's, you need to meet somebody else. And, network people. It's so important for anyone getting out of university, have nowhere to go. Just, reach out and offer what you can, because that's their next big step.
That's huge.
It's huge. And I mean, the other thing is that you said, though, it's the network, but it's also, there's people out there that might say, wait, how come I haven't fallen into that? But it's also what you have to offer and what your heart is showing and what you're giving back and what you're doing. And that you're also, hey, I have this idea. Let's think about this. Or you also are taking other people that are saying, I want to help you. And it's like, okay, so it's such a twofold thing that, networking, it really does work, but also people have to be open to it, and they have to have the right heart. And they, I truly believe that people are good. I mean, I was born that way. Not everyone, I grew up with my husband's a Bronx boy. So he always is a little like, well, wait a second. I want to know what the backstory is there first. Well, I'm like, oh, hello. I trust everyone. But it is one of those things again. And I so truly believe this, that we all have this path, and this is, Deb, what you were meant to be doing, and you're shining, and people want to help because they see and they feel, right? They feel. And when they see, as Cynthia said, when they see those girls walking down, and even the men walking down, and that's one of the things I do want to touch on. And I had said to Cynthia, being at the events and seeing the NFL spouses supporting their wives, and the players, sitting back and saying, and then when we were at the fashion show and talking to the women and saying, well, I want to know about you. And they were like, well, wait a second, like me, like what I do? It's because they're always so, well, this is my husband and this is what he does. And so it was really cool to kind of see it flip. And then also the husbands be like, no, yeah, tell them about your business and your brand.
Right.
And it's such a supportive community. And again, such a supportive community that I don't think is talked about enough. People don't see that enough. So the fact that you were able to get in there and be associated with it, and then seeing, of that sisterhood, because you're so right. I mean, I think when I explained how I felt at the event, it was the love energy. Like those are the two words. It was love energy, and it was so amazing.
Right.
Yes, it was. Somebody held my hand and took me in there. I would never have been connected if it wasn't for the people that took me in there. And there's a word you said a few times. It's believing in something. It's important that if you come on board, and you have to believe in it to want to give. Giving is the word, right? Because you're giving of yourself, you're giving of your network. And if you don't believe, you're not going to really give from the inside. And I also have to say, it's not easy. It is hard. There are so many things that go on behind the scenes that we don't even know about, that we as a brand are thinking 350 things at the same time, because it's got to synchronize. The show's got to happen. The product's got to be ready. We've got to sell. And more important than anything else, we have to make that impact, create the awareness, and give back. So, we have a lot of responsibility for the brand, and I am going to do this. I have such great support.
It is. I would love at some point to offer like just advice from you. There's so many beautiful brands that are coming out from the league, but also probably not out yet. And I'm sure a lot of, the young NFL spouses don't know how do you do it? Like, how do you get started? Where do you go? And maybe in the future we can do something where, we put together something really incredible for the girls to kind of get great advice from you on your journey. And, everybody's journey is different, but just hearing one is helpful, just to lead in some kind of direction to, possible, future something that they want to do.
Yeah. The power of words is about speaking, and the way the brand's formulated. If there's somebody that wants to do something, if they've already launched, I'm happy to, jump in and help. And we do the full scope. We do 360 of the business. So we can take an idea and create, or we can take your existing idea and develop your thoughts. But it has to be about you. So, for example, we have, a player wants to come on board and says, Deb, I love what you do. And I want something that's me. And the way we can work, if it's with the NFL, this gives back to Ohio Guidestones. But if it's the NFL player, he has his foundation, we'll develop something for him and he gives back to his foundation. So, he gets a full brand to help him with design, with merchandise, with manufacturing, with marketing, with all of that. And we've already got it in motion. So,
we have got to do that feature in the playbook to get that out there. I mean, we have to really cover that and make that kind of clear. We have to do that because I can't even imagine how exciting that will be with so many, messages. Because, you see, what the players are able to support on their cleats, so you're like, okay, well, everybody has something that's close to them, whether it's something that happened to them personally or a friend or a family member, or just maybe in that new community that they're in. So this is really big news. That's huge news that I'm sure a lot of players and spouses will be interested in.
If you remember, you can't forget, because it was such a great moment at the show where Sequake performed. His lyrics were just
amazing.
I stopped. I was running back to help Charisse, because I think Charisse was trying to change an outfit or something. And I just stopped in my tracks as I was, going back into the changing room to hear him, because it was powerful what he said. And he's young, and he, suffered with autism all these years. He's in college now. And I reached out to his manager and I said, we're doing this at the NBA. We didn't have a budget to fly someone in to perform, but we give him a platform. But also from that, he was offered so many different things to wear, and he picked the kind shirt. We call it the kind shirt, the black and white shirt to wear, because it said the power of words. And he goes, that's me. That's the power of words. That's what I do.
Oh my God.
For him. And we're working, with the foundation, with the Autism Foundation, to create something for him, because I think it's my way to teach a young man that's studying. He sings, he's an entrepreneur of sorts, he's an artist, but how can we help him be an entrepreneur by doing something for him and say, okay, here, this is yours. How do you want to market it? Figure out, because sales is the hardest thing in this brand, with a brand, with anything, actually not a brand, any product you selling comes naturally to some people. Some people just can't do it.
Right.
I love it. So, and it really was when he was singing, and the fact, and so anyone that just kind of joined now, Holly Rod was the foundation that which supports autism and Parkinson's. So Holly Robinson Pete, if you guys have not heard her episode, she's been on here. She's also been on here with Cookie, explaining her charity. So it was really beautiful. Everyone there, and so they had even some of the models, were autistic, and so they were able to have them, and then the singer. And so it literally just stopped in a track, because his lyrics were all about his struggles, but where he was. And we got to talk to him afterwards, because, people that follow me know that, I'm dyslexic. And so we have dyslexia runs deep in my family. So school was really tough for us. So I got to talk to him, and when I said, I'm dyslexic, he goes, oh, I know what that is. School sucked for you too. And I said, yeah, it did. I said, yeah, it did. I said, but I went to university. I played sports. I found what I was good at. And that's what's so important. And that's another message that I want people to hear, because we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Right. And Deb, you touched on it when you said you have your team, you have your strengths, and then your team can kind of fill in for the weaknesses. And that's what is so important in life. We all, sometimes people want to just do things themselves because they think, okay, they're maybe too proud. They don't want someone to know that they're struggling here. I mean, one of the things that I love, I'll send Cynthia something and I'll be like, can you just spruce this up? Because I know I didn't get a comment in there. I know I didn't spell something right, because I know what my strengths and weaknesses are. And so it's such an important thing. And so the fact that you're also, that, and it comes out in your brand too, right? It's telling people, let's figure out what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. And let's celebrate them, celebrate both of them.
Right. And mostly, like even with Sequig, it was his lyrics were his message.
Yes.
And his lyrics were strong. And now what you're saying pretty much is, let's take those lyrics and create a brand and let's put that message out there. So now you have all these families who are living with all different, in the spectrum of autism levels, that are seeing their words and their feelings in a different light, and that is in strength. And kind of like the clothing is strong and the clothing is cool, so it's like, wow, here we are talking about something and putting it in this light of strength and power. And so that's where I think that's just one area, that we've got so many areas to.
It's so true. It's so true.
It's true. And talking of team, you just met Jen on, the last call we had. She just went full out and did so much for us on the ground in Cleveland as well. And, I couldn't but move forward without her. So I'm so grateful.
It's amazing. So can you also share with everyone, I know we're coming to the top of the hour, but share again where people can find you. You guys can also see Deb's, the Power of Words brand on Instagram, and then also
on the website.
Tale, on the website, and Tale Blanc. So you guys can find there, but the website is powerofwordsbrand.com.
Yes, the website is thepowerofwordsbrand.com, and Instagram is Power of Words Brand. Tale Blanc is the mother brand, I want to say, is the first brand that we've had first brand that I launched. It's spelled THALEBLANC. That's Tale Blanc. That's the Instagram, and that's the website as well. And we have so many exciting things coming up around the corner within the next 4 weeks. We are going to be doing what I had thought about and dreamed about, and just came together for us so beautifully without even making an effort, was our NFTs. And
that's what I was going to have.
Came on board that wants to create a metaverse platform for us. So there will be some very fun gaming, and we'll let you know how that comes to fruition, so to speak. But we're thinking we're about 4 weeks out.
Wow, and you're on top of it. That's incredible.
Everything we raise from that goes back to mental health. Again, it goes back to the Ohio Guidestones, depending on when we start, because wherever we work and whoever we work with next will be the beneficiary. So we're looking for beneficiary organizations in different cities or in different states, so we can start to spread out as the brand grows.
Well, this is great. Well, I'm excited to share everything personally, and I know that the NFL community will feel the same way, because it's just it's fun to get behind something early and watch it grow, and to feel like, hey, maybe, we were right there at that right time to help. And I just think that this is a great brand to jump in to help.
It really is. And then Deb, I know, I'll have, my listeners say, well, I want to hear Deb's whole story. Like, how did she become a designer? So we will be having you on the podcast to also get to the roots, and talk about how you even got into fashion designing, because I know that people want to hear those kind of stories too. And that's just going to connect people more to your brand and your mission and what you're doing. So I just have to thank you so much. As Cynthia said, I'm so excited to see what comes. I'm so happy to be even a little bit of a part of it, just to hear and see it and unfold, and just shout it out from the rooftop. So again, you guys, share this, get it out, talk to people, say, I just was on the show. That was amazing. And I learned all about this. And because that's what happens. You shut this down, you had it in your mind, and maybe you're on to the next thing. But before you shut it down, share this, because it's so important.
Thank you, Juliet. Thank you, Cynthia. It was such a pleasure to meet you both, and thank you for everything you're doing, and thank you for this. I mean, you're not a little part of it; you're a really big part of it. Just having me on here, so I appreciate you, and thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
so
of
much.
course. Yes.
Exciting.
So, everyone else, and Cynthia, do you want to have any closing thoughts before I'll thank everyone in the audience? And
No, it's just really and truly, I think that think about how you might want to collaborate. Think about how you might want to share your message if you're in that position or in that space of mental health, and how not only would it might possibly help you, but help others. And reach out to Deb for sure to just kind of like start a conversation, because you just don't know where it will lead to.
Thank you.
it's so very true. So, thank you everyone for joining YNS Live with NFL Thread here live on Fireside, whether you're listening on Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. If you're listening to the replay, we just want to say thank you. And don't forget to keep joining us, because we are going to be bringing, Cynthia and I are going to be bringing some of the women that we had, little snippets. If you're following our social media, you'll see we're giving you guys highlights of all what we do. And we're going to be doing the draft again, doing the same sort of networking at the draft. So again, there's opportunities for sponsors and swag bags and all of that stuff to get involved. Just reach out and we can give you guys some more information. But thank you, Gina, Tyrone, Sandy, The Real, Elizabeth, Bridget, Jen, Aaron, and Corey. And I know people have been in and out because this room was very, very full and people are sharing. It's going to be excited to see, Deborah, which is really fun. Afterwards, we can see how many people shared it and where it went. And you're going to hear people saying to you, oh my God, I heard you on Twitter, or I heard you here. And you're going to be like, what are you talking about? So thank you, Fireside, for hosting this platform. And again, I'm so honored and I'm so glad that we met, and just excited to watch this all grow.
Me too. Thank you. And thank you, Fireside, as well, for hosting this. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So I will bring the music up and then we are out. All right, guys. Don't forget to share.
Beautiful. Keep it up.
Bye.